So for our project, we did Greek mystery cults by Gabby Sander, Molly Hallcroft, and Jessica Stahlbrink. So what is a Greek mystery cult? Mystery cults serve to be more personal and individualistic, especially towards death and the afterlife. Most mystery cults were based on a sacred story with a ritual reenactment from a death rebirth myth. Participants were called Mysti, and the picture is from Eleusis. Okay. The Eleusinian Mysteries, which is the cult of Demeter. So the associated myth is the abduction of Persephone. It is associated with the seasons changing. Hades abducts Persephone to be his wife. Demeter wanders Greece to find her daughter and ends up in Eleusis. Persephone is to not eat anything while she's in the underworld, but ends up eating pomegranate seeds. She has spent 8 months in the underworld with Hades and 4 months in the mortal realm with her mother Demeter. So I'm going to read a short adaptation of the myth. So Hades, the ruler of the underworld, decided that he wanted to marry Persephone, his sister Demeter's only daughter. One day, as she was gathering flowers in the Nicean meadow with her maidens, she wandered apart from the group, ensnared by the sudden blooming of a glorious fragrant flower. As she reached to pluck it, the ground below her feet opened up, and Hades in his 4-horse golden chariot appeared before her in all his power and majesty. He snatched her and took her with him to the underworld to be his wife and queen. Needless to say, Demeter wasn't very pleased when she found out from Hecate and Helios what had happened. Hurt and distraught, she started wandering aimlessly around and was aggrieved to such an extent that she neglected all her duties. And since she was the goddess of agriculture and fertility, the earth was now barren and people were dying of famine. Seeing no way out of it, Zeus sent Hermes to the underworld to fetch Persephone back to her mother. The divine messenger did do precisely that, and Demeter and Persephone were once again reunited on Olympus. However, either on her own accord or more probably after being tricked by Hades, Persephone had tasted one pomegranate seed before leaving the underworld. This, according to the ancient laws, obliged her to remain in the underworld. Zeus proposed a compromise. Persephone would spend 2/3 of the year with her mother and 1/3 with her new husband. Everybody agreed, and that's how the seasons were born and how the growth of crops explained. Just like a seed, Persephone spends few months of the year below earth. This is the period of Demeter's grief, which coincides with the dark winter months. However, when the time comes for Persephone to go back to her mother, Demeter brings back the light and the warmth, and the earth rejoices in abundance. So Demeter is the goddess of agriculture, fertility, sacred law, and the harvest. She is the oldest daughter of Cronus and Rhea. She's the only god/goddess to live on earth. She is the mother of the goddess Persephone, and the snake and the pig were sacred to her. She taught men how to grow crops, thus resulting in her being named the good goddess, and she settled on the island of Eleusis. The myth on Eleusis goes as, her association with Eleusis is, in Greek mythology, when Demeter was searching for her daughter Persephone, who had been abducted by Hades, she decided to rest at Eleusis. The daughters of the king Celeus offered to help Demeter, who was disguised as an old woman. While in the royal palace, Demeter took a shine on Celeus's infant son Demophon, to whom she gave ambrosia, and each night in secret she held the child over the fire in order to make him immortal. Demophon's mother happened to see this one night and banished the old woman from the palace, misunderstanding the goddess's intentions. Then Demeter revealed her true identity to them and ordered Celeus to build her a temple. This was done, and the goddess retreated inside it and brought a drought and famine upon Eleusis, until the other Olympian gods revealed where Persephone was and agreed to release her from the underworld for half of the year. And thanks to Eleusis, the goddess blessed the land and taught the people sacred rites so that the Eleusinians might thereafter prosper both morally and physically. So next up we have Kore/Persephone. She's the goddess of fertility and queen of the underworld. She's the daughter of Demeter and Zeus, wife of Hades. Kore is understood to mean the girl or the maiden. Persephone's time in the underworld represents a seed below ground and then blooms when she spends time with her mother Demeter above the ground. This is the premise to the harvest festivals in Eleusis. So Eleusis is the site of the worship of Demeter and Persephone. Eleusinian mysteries were associated with fertility and agricultures. The mysteries probably brought worshippers good fortune and the promise of a better afterlife. Some festivals held at Eleusis were the Eleusinian mysteries, which I'll talk about on the next slide. Eleusinia, which is a biannual games where the prizes were sacred grain. Thesmophoria, an all-female autumn festival in honor of Demeter, where pigs were thrown into pits and their remains were then mixed with seeds before sowing. And Haloa, all-female winter festival in honor of Demeter and Dionysus. So the Eleusinian Mysteries Festival. It was Demeter's main festival during harvest time and happened once every 5 years. Some of the rituals included a ritual and communal cleansing and purification ceremonies, the representation or reenactment of the myths, animal sacrifices, specifically pigs, interpretation of sacred texts by priests, drinking, music, and dancing. Initiates might have been under the influence of hallucinogens. So ritual/initiation. The mysteries began with the procession from Athens to Eleusis. The rites would then be performed in the Telesterion Hall of Initiation. Something was recited, something was revealed, and acts were performed. It is not known what was said and done because of a sacred oath that initiates would take. And this is where you would switch to Molly's video.